21-year-old Narel Sharpe had wanted to serve in the British Army ever since he could walk and talk, and after working hard at school, the Birmingham-based teenager had committed himself to the army after they had recruited in the area. When Narel passed his army fitness test, he had phoned his mum to tell her that he was the fastest and the strongest, and he could not have been more proud and enthusiastic of his future. Plain and simple, Narel Sharpe had defied the odds of his surroundings. He was smart and astute enough to navigate through the upsurge of drug and gang cultures that had popped up in the Birmingham area. He got an education and then joined the British Army. So focused and resolute was Narel Sharpe from a young age that his mum says at as young as 4 years old, Narel would stand at attention and then salute people. Even when friends had turned to rivals and men had recruited teenagers to join their gang or act as runners, Narel kept his focus. And because of this, Narel Sharpe was considered the pride of his family. So it had to hurt deep when his life was cruelly taken away from him by a well-known GUN man by the name of Levi Walker. Now, Levi Walker was also implicated in the of Kevin Nunes, who was described as a talented footballer who turned to dealing. Now, Kevin Nunes was only 20 years old at the time that he was emmed. His life had been taken by a gang. Now, he had been put in a car against his will and then driven to a country lane next to a farm in Paddington, Staffordshire. After he was forced out of the car, he was then struck with ammo at least 5 times, which hot casings had tore through his body. He was then left there. Police had concluded that the K of Kevin Nunes was because of a gang and drug dispute. In layman's terms, Levi and his mates did not like the fact that Kevin was dealing cross-country and taking money out of their pockets. Levi had been jailed for life after a witness by the name of Simeon Taylor had put him at the scene of the crime. However, in 2012 the conviction was overturned due to Simeon being given drink by his handlers. He was also given a holiday to South Africa, not only for him but also for his mum and 2 brothers with taxpayers' money, and had been actively still committing crimes when he was a valuable and pivotal witness. Some of the things that Simeon Taylor did was he was caught with a GUN. He was also both taking and selling Class A, white to be specific. And despite breaching his conduct 76 times, there was no consequences or punishment for Simeon. Ultimately, the case fell apart, and in the aftermath, Levi Walker was allowed to go free, along with his co-defendants. And Levi Walker actually sued the police and got a settlement figure in the range of £150,000. Now, regarding Trooper Narel Sharpe, he had clear goals in mind. He had set his sights on becoming Britain's first black colonel. Now, according to reports, Narel, who was only 21 years old at the time of his callous and unimaginable had travelled from Germany, where he had been stationed with the Queen's Royal Hussars, and then he made his way back to the Birmingham area of Smethwick. For a joint birthday celebration for himself and also his mum's 40th. At the time of his Narel had only been back on UK soil for a matter of a few hours. Of course, Narel was ecstatic and excited to be granted leave and to be with his loved ones. So, in the early hours of September 4th of 2004, on his way to his mum's house, Narel had stopped off at a phone box in Oldbury Road, Smethwick, by a parade of shops. When Levi Walker had approached Narel, armed with a Beretta, the 26-year-old Levi Walker, who was said to be part of a gang and had built a reputation for carrying and also using GUNs, could normally strike fear into the hearts of ordinary men and women. His pals included West Midlands godfather Adam Juve, who was making at least £40,000 a week by transporting Class A, like white, from the West Midlands to Aberdeen, where it was sold on for 5 or 6 times as much the average market price. Levi Walker, who is from Edgbaston, Birmingham, was known to be for completing the Aberdeen run, the same thing that Adam Juve was doing and also Kevin Nunes. So when Levi Walker pulled out his pistol, took aim at Narel Sharpe and then told him to take off that gold chain, the last thing Levi Walker expected was for Narel to say no. Now taken back, Levi promised to cane Narel if he did not comply with the order of removing the chain. Now this was his final warning. Now it's not known what exactly happened between the time of the robbery was attempted and Narel being struck with ammo, but the judge who presided over the case says that it's likely that Narel had defended himself. Way over his head, and in a panic that a soldier who had served in hotspots across the world like Iraq and Kosovo had refused to be a victim, Levi then took aim once more time and then pressed a trigger in a daze. Heart casings had torn through Narel's arm and then entered his body, where it caused catastrophic damage to the 21-year-old who had just wanted to celebrate his birthday. As Narel lay in the street, dying in the early hours of that morning, Levi then stepped over Narel, crouched down and then took the chain from Narel's neck before fleeing the scene. A good Samaritan had called 999 and West Midlands Police and ambulance crew had arrived at the scene very quickly after they blue lighted their way there. Narel was quickly put in the back of an ambulance and then rushed to hospital, where he was tragically pronounced dead soon after. Now, in the aftermath of the Levi Walker had handed over the GUN to a 16-year-old associate who cannot be named, after that young man wanted to impress Levi and join the gang. Despite Narel being a pillar of the community and loved by many, Levi Walker's girlfriend, 21-year-old Siobhan Whitehouse, had given false statements to police and helped Levi avoid capture for a certain amount of time. Not only that, but Siobhan had taken a gold chain that had been handed to her and then went to a pawn shop in order to sell it in West Brom. Siobhan had been given £422 for that gold chain. The money was then handed back to her boyfriend, 26-year-old Levi Walker. Now Siobhan was the very, very worst type of woman that you could imagine, because she was so infatuated with her gangster boyfriend that Siobhan did not flinch or grimace or even have anything to say when she found out that her own boyfriend had K'd Narel Sharpe for his chain. Now Narel Sharpe and Siobhan Whitehouse were known to each other. They were actually friends. Again, Siobhan and the victim Narel Sharpe were good friends. Not only had they grown up together in the same area of Smethwick, they attended the same school, same birthday parties, and even were in the same class. Now a witness helped secure the conviction against Levi Walker, who described hearing a loud bang. The witness then looked out of the window and saw a man that was believed to be Levi standing over the victim, who of course was Narel. He then saw Levi pull something from round Narel's neck before running away. Despite the false alibi, Levi Walker was arrested, and then of course he had to attend the court. In court, the prosecution detailed some key facts about Levi Solomon Walker. They says that 26-year-old Levi was known to police and had a criminal record that dated back to when he was just 14 years old. He was also part of a gang and had connections to Adam Juve and also the Heathtown crew, who were also known as Firetown Mandem or Firetown crew. It was also known that Levi Walker was a drug dealer and also known for carrying a GUN, and he had been implicated in a ton of serious crimes. He had also been caught at the scene of the crime by a witness whom actually managed to accurately describe Levi Walker and also explained something had been taken from the victim's neck. Police found the pawnbrokers the chain had been sold to, and the person who had taken the chain to the shop was associated with Levi, connecting them to the crime, and of course also establishing a motive. In court, 26-year-old Levi Walker was found guilty of the of 21-year-old Trooper Narel Sharpe. The motive was jealousy, a mugging for a gold chain, and Levi was told that he would be jailed for life and would have to serve a minimum term of 30 years. As for 21-year-old Levi Walker's girlfriend, Siobhan Whitehouse, who was also a friend of Narel Sharpe, she was charged with perverting the course of justice. Now Levi had since tried to appeal against his conviction, but no judge was interested in his basis, and of course the conviction still stands. Think about this. Narel was well on his way to achieving his ambitious dreams. He was the embodiment of a nice person and also a great soldier, where he was part of the Tank Regiment's senior division, and his life was taken over a cheap gold chain worth only a few £100, and the only thing he did was defend what was his, defend his items, and Levi Walker K'd him for no other reason, and 21-year-old Siobhan Whitehouse actually tried to help her boyfriend evade punishment. When he was the one that killed her friend, she had no morals. Condolences. Stay safe. Safe.